data leaders, Linux learners, automation experts. Welcome to Insight Builder channel and to a new series of videos on Linux. And this is the first video explaining you the 7 ways to experiment with Linux, accessing Linux environment without breaking the bank. Let us dive in. The 7 ways that I am going to discuss is the Windows Subsystem Linux instance to Raspberry Pi, using dual boot installation, AWS or other cloud instances demo will be shown, local Docker demo will be shown, Docker on Kaggle demo will be shown, VM environment on Collab demo will be shown. Let us discuss about each of the steps before we go to the demo. If you look at this slide, I have brought together 3 of the first options that you have got. You might be having a Windows laptop already with you or a server already with you, and you might want to try Linux. The most risky method is to actually do a dual boot, that is, install both Linux as well as Windows on your hard disk, that is metal hard disk, and then boot them as per your requirement. So you can boot into Linux or you can boot into Windows, and you will have to make some modifications in your boot sector. This is not suggested at all. Nowadays, Windows 10 and Windows 11 laptops are coming, it's becoming complicated to work at the boot level. It is best not to try this option. There are more easy options available right now in the market. We need not actually resort for this route. In past, this was one of the most resorted route for anybody who wants to learn Linux. Other option is you can try to buy the Raspberry Pi board. So Raspberry Pi board and install Linux onto it and connect to it. The challenge with Raspberry Pi currently is the board availability seems to have been a challenge. So what I have seen from the internet, currently the CEO of Raspberry Pi has been telling that the supply chain is going to be better. So 100,000 units has been allocated to the customers, but still this is not sufficient. So using that route also seems to be a challenge. However, Raspberry Pi is also a viable route, and do keep that in mind that you can always use the Raspberry Pi to get hands on your Linux. The third and the most easiest way to get a Linux operating or environment for you to practice and work out your skills is Windows Subsystem Linux. Basically, Windows itself has created an application which can simulate. I shouldn't say simulate. It actually emulates a file system, Linux file system inside the Windows operating system itself. Basically, the way Windows file system and Linux file system works is completely opposite. So the Windows guys have come up with a kind of a containerized environment. So it's very similar to Docker, but in a different way. So it has Docker that we are going to see next cannot actually run directly on Windows operating system. So if you are going to run Docker and if you want to install Linux on the Docker running in Windows, it will not work. Okay. So if you want to run Linux Docker on Windows, the only way is that you have to install Windows Subsystem for Linux, and then on top of it you have to install Linux. So it's kind of a loopy concept. So let me go to the Internet Explorer for a moment, and let me share you the link where you can take a look at how to get started with WSL. So WSL Windows Subsystem Linux is only available after Windows 10. Before that, it's not available. And before that, you can actually use something called a Cygwin. So it is actually emulation only. So Cygwin is also one of the application available before Windows Subsystem Linux. So you can use the WSL command and start installing. So you have to go to PowerShell and just use WSL install. It will start installing. And you can control a lot of things like which distribution you want to install. And these distributions are already kept inside the repo that is maintained by Windows servers. So you don't need to worry about how to get hold of Linux distribution. Those things, you don't need to worry about that. So by just using list distribution, that is WSL -L-O, you can see what are the distributions available. And once you do the installation, then you can start. Where is the tutorial? So if you come to this tutorial, and you can start up using these tutorials, and you can get the things done. Okay, you can work on your Linux username, password. You can add the additional distributions. You can set up your code editor. All these things you can do. You can even set up database here. So lot of benefits and lots of open ideas are available. So you can start working on that. Okay. The point is, this provides almost a very good environment to learn learn Linux, and it is also very safe when it comes to the challenges that I told in my first video, that if something gets corrupted, then how to recover. This Windows environment is one of the best places to learn. So hands down, I really like this environment, and it will be little heavier on your machine. You need to have a good laptop, good high power laptop to really have a good experience and do some fun things with this particular WSL. So you can see, you can open multiple distributions of Linux, and you can get the command, the shell prompt, and you can do the activities, Linux related activities. Okay. This is one of the easiest method. You can work on VS Code. You can get the Git. You can do the database. You can install various. Even you can, if you have GPU acceleration, then you can enable GPU acceleration also. You can install Node.js. You can install Python. So this is one of the go-to option. Okay. Now, assume you don't have a good laptop. Okay, your laptop is little older, or you have a previous generation, that is Windows 8 or Windows 7 operating system, and you still want to experiment with Linux. So where will you start? For that, let us go back to the presentation once. So here, the option that you have got right now is, we have another 4 different options that we can do. Okay. Out of this, if your laptop is little older and you are still running Windows 7, then the easiest option, I would say that, okay, throw away Windows 7 and install Linux. Okay, so that is actually that I have not shown here. Okay, so instead of dual boot option installation, you can do a direct installation. See, at the end of the day, your laptop, if you are using Windows 7 and it is later, the laptop power will be much lower. So I would suggest that remove Windows 7 and directly put update any of the Linux distributions like Manjaro or Mint. Also would be a good idea. Manjaro will be a good idea. You can even try Fedora. Will be very difficult to run. These two distributions, Manjaro and Mint, are a very good options to try. They have a very good support. So that is one of the options. But if you don't want to do that, okay, assume that you are thinking that, okay, that will I cannot, it's not my laptop, or it's not something that I am really capable of, then these three options that we are showing is actually accessible from the Internet Explorer itself, your browser itself. So we will directly go to Kaggle. First we will go to Kaggle. Okay. What we are going to do is, Kaggle is a website or a forum in which all the data engineers and the data scientists, the data analysts come together and do work on data problems. So you must have seen that there has been recent boom in lots of artificial intelligence related activity, right? If you have come across that, then this particular Kaggle environment is the place where it all started, I should say, because Kaggle environment is the place where all the data scientists, data engineers, and data analysts got together and did a lot of research. So if you don't need to worry about all these options. All you need to do is get yourself a account, okay, sign in to Kaggle. You will be asked to sign in, give your Gmail ID, and you can sign in. There will be no any charges involved. It's free of cost. Once you sign in, you will be given a similar kind of a dashboard. Inside the dashboard, you can click on code. Once you click on code, it will show you the others. It will first of all show you to take a new notebook. So you can click on new notebook, and also you can see others work also here. So lots and lots of work done by others, their examples. You can also learn. So if you go here, you can learn about, you can click on learn, and you can learn how to use Kaggle environment. What I'm going to do to you here is, I am going to tell you how to use Linux in Kaggle environment. Okay, I am not going to teach you Python. I am not going to teach you data science. My intention of showing you Linux Kaggle environment is that how to use this as a Linux environment. So click on new notebook. This new notebook will open up a complete new page. Okay, this page, what is opening, is actually at the back end is a Docker instance. Docker instance that is by default a Linux instance. Okay, so you can practice all your Linux related commands in this location also. So let me actually give you some background on this. Okay, then you will understand. So how to use this particular tool. Many of them don't understand this at the beginning. But how to use this kind of a cell environment for Linux practice. So basically, this is a Jupyter Notebook environment, and Jupyter Notebook environment works with Python. Python is a programming language that is very famous. So you must have come across Python language. If you have not, just give a Google search, you will understand. And also in my playlist, right? In the playlist that I have already uploaded in my YouTube channel, you can take a look at this particular playlist, which highlights the Python language, how to get started in Python language, and also understand the ecosystem around the Python language. You can get all this information in this particular playlist. So you can take a look at that. That is one of the ways you can try to learn. The other point is that how to use Linux in Kaggle. Okay, so don't touch this cell. First of all, you can leave the cell. You can click on code a couple of times. It will open new cells here, and you can click this particular arrow mark. Click that, and it will open up this kind of a window. So this will have lots of options. Two options you need to be aware of. First and foremost, this notebook should be connected to internet. So ensure that this is on. It should not be off. It should be connected to internet. Okay. And the language should be Python. You don't need to worry about that. There need not be any models. You don't need to care about these things. Okay. You can do this and come here and add data. In your add data, what you can do is you can actually search for iris data. So this is one of the famous data set inside data science and data related location. So you can just click iris data. Okay, it will open. So if you click on iris data, it will open up the details of the data set. So if you give, it is coming up. So it will actually open in a new window like this. You can actually click this plus mark. That iris data set is a CSV file to be added to your environment. I will show you what is the environment in a moment. So you also take some more data sets like this. You don't need to worry about these things right now, what it is. I will show you in a moment. Okay. And so these are all getting added. So if you go here, you will see that what is this data set all about, and all these things you will see here. Okay. What is there inside the data set. You will see the graph, etc. This is actually a database, SQL database. You can take a look at that also. Okay. You don't see, the thing is that I am just giving you an overall view for your understanding. Ensure that you give a different name also. So I am not going to give a name because it's I'm using it for reference purpose. You have to just click on this and give a new name. So it will automatically change. Here, when you want to execute any of the Linux related command, you need to use exclamation mark. After exclamation mark, if you type any of the Linux commands, so it will start the session. First of all, when it says starting the session, right? So you can see here, the session will get started. waiting for Jupyter server. So the session will get started, and then you'll be given an environment. You will be given a process CPU, you will be given RAM, and you will be able to use that as a as if it's your mission. So once the session has started, so you will see that draft session has been created, and if you click, you will see that how much disk space is there. For me, it's almost 77 GB is there, and what is the CPU and what is the RAM. So we can see all these things. So it is basically a computer. It's basically a instance where you can work. So if you now do ls, you will see that you are getting something called as notebook underscore IPNB. So this list command is working actually. Now again click here. Okay, this particular environment is there. There are two environments. There is one input and there is one output. This environment, you can actually change anything you want. So for an example, you just copy this. Okay, and in Linux there is a command called cd. Okay, so if you type cd, and if you paste now, you will see that you will see Kaggle working. So we copied the environment, right? And if you press enter, now the actual change directory has happened. So if we come to the third cell, the new cell, and if you press ls, now you'll see it will be again showing notebook source.np. So this particular notebook source is actually in Kaggle environment. So we can actually try it in another way also. So if I do pwd, so pwd is again a Linux environment, Linux command. So this will show you that where is the current working directory, present working directory. And if I want to do ls, and if I want to list the input directory, okay, we can actually do that also. So if I say ls, and if I do input, and if I press enter, so now what it will do, it will say cannot access input. So if you go here, it will say you cannot access input, but you need to specifically say the file path. So we have to give the complete path like this. So if you give this path, and now if you say ls, it will list all the data sets. So you see iris and iris data set. So it will input, release all this. And then if I say, this is one of the Linux command again. So if I say uname r, it will actually give you the version of Linux that is running. And same way, if I use uname a, uname is basically username. It's basically to find the details of the Linux kernel. So if I say uname a, and if I press Control Enter, or you have to press this play button, you will see Linux. You see this? So this is one of the ways of getting access to Linux environment. First way. Okay, so you have to practice this. The main point of coming to this showing you all these options is that you can practice it continuously. And most importantly, if you like this video, do leave a like or a comment in the comment section, so that I will know that whatever information I'm sharing is useful for others. And do subscribe to my channel for getting new video updates. This is also once you subscribe, what will happen is, if I am updating new videos, you will start getting the notification in your YouTube dashboard. In your YouTube, the account dashboard is there, right? You will get the update that, okay, Insight Builder has given the new video update. So do subscribe for that. Now let us head back to the browser. So you saw Kaggle environment. So practice it. If you are facing any problem, let us know. I am going to close this right now. You don't need to worry about it. Just close it. So this environment will get closed, and you can open a new notebook and you can start working on it. There is no any issue. There is no cost involved. And in fact, you can actually do a lot of things here. Okay. In the future, if you have any questions, if you want me to do more coverage on this, do let me know. I will provide additional information. The most important point is you can actually attach GPUs also here. You can attach GPUs, you can attach TPUs. TPUs are tensor processing units. These are all advanced processing units used by data scientists and the related analysts and researchers. So GPU, okay, you cannot be able to play games by attaching these GPUs. Even I was thinking initially that I can play games, but no, these GPUs are mainly for doing mathematical calculations. So, and it is extremely powerful also. So you can do a lot of calculation, and it is This GPU is almost each GPU, this T4 GPU is almost 8 GB of RAM. So it's almost 16 GB GPU is given to you for calculation. One of the best services out there that you guys have to know. Okay, so that is about Kaggle. Now we have, I'm going to close this. We have a similar environment called as Collab, Google Collab, okay, CO. This environment is also similar to what we saw in Kaggle. Okay, you have to again go to Google Collab. You go to internet and you ask for Google Collab. Let me actually do a search for you. Google Collab. Okay, just give Google Collab, and you will see that you will get a. This is the first collab.research.com. So click on that and connect yourself using your email ID or the GitHub link. So if you are not aware of GitHub, you are not aware of Python, as I showed you, you can visit that earlier playlist and you can get more information. Now coming to the the main point, that how to use Collab. Collab is also similar to Kaggle, but Collab actually gives you a complete virtual machine. So what is the difference between a Docker and a virtual machine? Docker is like inside the house, you have loft, right? You will have multiple steps. So Docker is like multiple steps. So in each step, you can install various softwares, various applications, and various operating systems. So think about like a step format on a wall. But if you are thinking about virtual machine is like a complete room inside your house. So that room, you can do whatever you want in that room. Like that much powerful is the this Collab environment. And even in Collab environment, is still the Jupyter Notebook environment only. You can use the same kind of option. So you can use ls and it will start listing. So all this Linux command you can execute here also, but you have to use the exclamation command. And also there is one more way. So before it starts, again, here you will see it is connecting. So it has to connect, it has to allocate, then only the particular environment has to be allocated to you. So here it is saying reconnect. So yeah, it has got connected now. So if I execute else right now, so I will have the data that comes out and it will execute. So it will say sample data. So if you click here, you will see that there is .config file sample data. But you will be wondering, okay, why .config file is not showing? That is because I need to give a different command for that. So if I use ls-a, if you will see that I will get the .config file also. So I will get .config and sample data. If you are thinking, okay, you are curious, so what is there inside the .config? So all you need to do is use this command. And you will see that what is inside the folder. So ls-a.config, if you give, it will give all the configuration file inside that. This is how you can actually take a look at each of the files and folders inside the Linux operating system. And you might be wondering, okay, I can actually click here and check it, right? But the point here is that you don't need to. You can take just without using any mouse or any GUI. You can start using the command, the keyboard, and you can get everything that you want. As I was explaining in my earlier video, that the introduction video of this playlist, just a minute. In the introductory video that I had shared, in this I had told that we can use Linux. If you understand the basics of Linux commands, you can then use that for commands for doing the bash scripting. So that is the primary aim of doing the bash, understanding these Linux commands and practicing in Linux environment. That is the overall goal that I had shared. So this is another one environment that we can work. These are the two environments that I have shared to you right now. Let us go to the PDF once again. Now we have the EC2 environment. EC2 is a AWS provided service. So it's actually an elastic cloud compute that is provided by AWS that you can actually access if you have AWS account. So you need to have AWS account, and in AWS they give you 12 months of free trial. Okay, just a moment. So you can get yourself AWS free account, set yourself the budget, ensure that you are not crossing the AWS free account. And now what we are going to see is that how to get yourself a proper working Linux environment with the GUI also. If you want the GUI, you can get that also by using this method. So once you have your own AWS account, you will get the dashboard like this. Okay, inside the dashboard, you can actually go here and search. You can use EC2. If you type EC2, you will get the EC2 service here, virtual servers in the cloud. You can see this, and then you can click that. Inside this, with less number of clicks, you have to do some clicks, but once you do the click, you will actually get access to the Ubuntu server. So we'll see how to get access to the Ubuntu server right now. This is also part of the demo that I'm doing right now. So let me, because see, the most important point is that whenever you are trying to learn something, all your options are open. So it will be easier for you to, if one option is failing, then you can go to the other option and you can start practicing there. So that is the main intention of showing you all the options in a single stretch of a video. So in less than 45 minutes, you will be getting all the options. You can judge which option you want to use. So click on instances. So once you click on instances, what will happen is you will be taken to a different page where you can start working on the instance. Okay. So before you start working on the instance, you need to do one thing. So you need to first of all get yourself a key pair. So if you scroll down here, you can actually click on this key pair. If you are totally unaware about any of the cloud environment, if you are new, you don't know how to set up these things, take support. So if you are, for an example, in first year of college, or you are in school and you want to learn about Linux, so take support of your siblings, your elder siblings, or your parents, and try to get up this particular environment setup. That will be one of the best ways to, for you also to practice. Yes, they will have to support you, but it's a good thing that you are also trying to learn something and you are also exploring, right? So explain to them what is there, do some research on yourself, your own, and try to take to the next step and ask for help. That is very important. So here we have to click on, okay, just a minute, let me do a refresh because the page has not formed properly. So the generate key pair is hidden. So let me refresh that and you'll see that the generate key pair comes up in a second. So you will see inside the you'll see this key pair, create key pair. So create key pair, click on create key pair, and it will ask you to enter the key pair name. And if you are using Windows, then select PPK. Okay, don't worry about PPK or PEM at this moment. Okay, select PPK and say create key pair. For me, I have already created it, so I don't need to create it. And then come back. So I will tell you where to use this key pair. Go to instances now, and inside the instance, create launch instance. Click on launch instance. And in launch instance, what you need to do is it will again open a new window. So you have created your key pair, and now you are going to launch the instance. So give yourself the instance name. Let us say the instance name is Linux Tutor. So it will take a moment. Linux Tutor. Tutor. Okay. And if I scroll down, you will see there will be lots of options. Okay, just select Ubuntu. Don't select anything else because you are learning Linux. Ubuntu is one of the most easiest Linux OS available there. It will provide you the flavor of Linux directly. Okay, that is the reason why I'm asking you to select Linux. And then you can use free tier. So it will be, if you are in free tier, ensure that this free tier eligible is coming up, and then ensure that you are selecting one vCPU, that is one virtual CPU and 1 GB memory. This should be there. And this is also free tier eligible. So if you are in 12 months, you just now opened AWS account. If you are in 12 months, then this free tier is eligible for you. Then you need to select the key pair here. So when you are working on this, ensure that you select any of the key pair and say, I'm selecting Sunday PM. Okay. This will be required. Okay, in the future I'll be showing how in the series of videos I'll be showing you how to do SSH into the Linux instance. So at that time you will have to use the key pair. So keep this in mind. So this same process I will not explain again. I will be asking, if you are coming into that video, I'll be asking to refer this video. So understand how this process works, and that is why I'm asking you to subscribe to my channel. So if I am going to upload new videos, you will get to know that what is going to come next, and you will also be aware that if new videos are uploaded. Let us get back, and now after that you don't need to touch anything. So you don't need to do anything, it will do everything for you. Okay, this is already fixed. You don't need to change this also. Okay, and then just launch instance. So you give the name, you select Ubuntu, and then you select the key pair, then you say launch. No change. That is all the steps you need to follow. So it will take a couple of minutes. It will do certain setups, and then it will say the launch is successful. And then here what we are going to do is we are going to say connect to instance. Click on connect to instance. It will open a new window. You will astonished right now that how it is even possible that if you are not aware of cloud services, or if you are not aware of the current advancements, right, you will be even thinking, okay, it is equal to magic. So in this area, if you click on EC2 instance connect, click on EC2 instance connect, and if you click on connect, it will actually open one more window. And this window, you will have Linux environment directly. You will actually have Ubuntu environment in which you can type Linux commands and it will work. And you can actually see all these things. So the connection is establishing, and you actually do not use SSH, you do not use the key, you do not do any of those things, but you need to set it up. In the future, I will tell you how to use it, but do set it up and keep it. Or else again, what will happen? You have to redo it. It's better to do it, right? Just a minute, let me come back. I think, yeah, connection is established. So you see that it actually gives you welcome to Ubuntu Linux. Let me zoom in a bit so that you guys can see better. And yeah, there you go. So you see this, welcome to Ubuntu this version, and at the bottom you get the prompt here, and if you say ls, it will list, there is no any directory here. So if you go back, if you do a cd dot dot, and if I do ls, you'll see that I am in Ubuntu user and Ubuntu home, and if I do a cd root, and I am actually the root user, so you'll see all the Linux related file systems. And if I want to do some activity, say for an example, let us do the uname and check it. So you'll see that the entire detail. So what is IP address, what is the version of the kernel, and that is GNU Linux. So this is the way of getting command terminal access to Ubuntu. Okay. Also, there is a way to connect to Ubuntu using something called as Remina. So if you are into, if you are using Windows, if you are trying to connect from Windows, then you need to use apt. You have to first do this. You have to say sudo apt get. Once you get the Linux instance like this, you have to sudo apt upgrade. Sorry, you have to say sudo apt install update. Sorry, you have to use update first and then upgrade. You have to say my sudo apt install update. It will update first, and then you have to say upgrade. Both of these things you have to do. Then only you can start working on the. Just a minute. Sudo apt, I think it's apt update. I think I made a mistake here. Yeah, it is sudo apt update. I made a mistake there. Sorry for that. You have to use sudo apt update and then upgrade. So there is no install in the middle. So installation is only required when you are going to give the specific software. So after this, once you have done update and upgrade, it will update the system and upgrade the system. And then you have to say sudo apt install xrdp. So this is the software that will give you connection. So after you install this software, this will actually help you to connect from your remote desktop in your Windows. So this is how you have to do xrdp. This is one of the options. that will give you the GUI of the Ubuntu Linux. But there is other way of getting the GUI also that I will discuss later. So that is all I wanted to share. So I am going to close this. And once you are done, ensure that you come to instances and clean up. The most important thing is come to Linux instance again, click on this instance, come here, come to actions, comes to instance state and terminate the instance. Okay, what is termination and what is stop? Terminate the instance will completely remove the instance from your AWS account itself. This will safeguard you from getting unwantedly charged for if you are going to use this service, and if you let it running, then AWS will charge you after a couple of hours. So there is a limited hours only for which you can use EC2 instance for free. So always terminate the instance. Okay, so in this way what will happen is you can be sure that the instance is shut down and it has been terminated completely. Okay, and ensure that you do a refresh here and ensure that the instance has got completely terminated, and yeah, you see the successfully terminated has to come. Then only you can be assured that okay, now the instance is no longer a concern for me. Okay, so we have actually seen these three options. We have seen Kaggle, we have seen Collab, and we have seen EC2 instances using the AWS account. So similarly, you can also have Google Cloud Compute account. You can have Azure Cloud Compute. You can have a Linode. You can have DigitalOcean. So there are so many other providers nowadays who provide an option for you to connect with Linux or Windows servers on the cloud. I preferred EC2 because it is the way to connect with EC2 is very, very simple. Like how you saw, right? I could actually explain the entire process in less than 10 minutes. Okay, so yeah, I did not explain you how to do the how to get the sign in and all those stuff. So take a look at that. It will take you a little time. So initially, once you set it up and you have the AWS account with you, and also one more important thing, AWS account is based on shared responsibility. So what this means is that AWS also expects you to take responsibility of properly using the resources provided to you. Like the EC2 instance they provided to you right now, they gave it for free, but it is your responsibility that you use it properly, like shutting it down properly, knowing that okay, who is connecting to it, how many hours you are using it, and whether you need it or not. All these things you have to decide. It's your responsibility. So that is why AWS actually is working on shared responsibility. It's a good thing, but if you don't know how to use it, then it will become a challenge for us. So you have to learn a bit about AWS. Once you come up to speed in AWS, then you can do a lot of things in the AWS environment. So I hope that you will actually use it wisely. Now comes Docker. This is one of my favorite application. Docker works on Windows 10 or above, okay, and Docker works on Linux all versions. No issues when it comes to Linux. So most of the things in Linux will work. Okay, you throw at it something, it will work because programmers around the world are working around the clock to make Linux a very good environment. Okay, so if you are having Windows, getting Docker on your Windows environment could be difficult if it is below Windows 10. So it should be above Windows 10, then only you can get Docker. How to get Docker? So let me close this. So you see this is terminated right now. So I'm closing this. I no longer need this. So hub.docker.com. So this is the place where it all starts. Docker, as I was telling you, is like it can create lofts or kind of steps inside your operating system. So there will be imagine that at the floor there is your operating system. Okay, on the floor your basic CPU, RAM, and processor, all these things are at the base, at the floor, and there is a wall that is getting raised. Okay, 90-degree wall, and on that wall there is a slab. So like how you have the slabs in your house for keeping your cloth, like that there is slabs, and these slabs, each slab can have different Dockers. So there are so many Dockers available, like for each application. So whether it's Python, Postgres, Ubuntu, so the Ubuntu also has a Docker, and you will see all this 1B plus, this means 1 billion plus downloads. So these many people actually use the Docker and the Docker images. Okay, Docker and Docker images have, you need to have a little bit of knowledge on how to use that. Okay, on also using command line. So this could be little challenging when you begin, but once you master this, then you will not prefer any other route. So only you will use this route. First and foremost, I will again repeat, if you are going to install Docker Linux images inside Windows, then you can do it only through Windows Subsystem Linux. You have to, you cannot directly install Linux Docker images on Windows system. So inside the Windows house, okay, just coming back to the analogy, inside the Windows house, the steps, the steps inside on the wall can only be Windows operating system, like Windows 2008 server or Windows NT, Windows XP, the previous versions of Windows. Only those can be installed. So for an example, if I come here and if I search Windows, okay, so Windows also will have their own images. Okay, so it will start populating in a moment. You will see that there are many types of, so you have to select sponsored OSs and verified publisher only. So that way you will only get the Windows scheduler, Windows utility base. So all these are Windows based applications. Okay, so Grafana for Windows, and this is, so all these options are available. So Windows, Apache Foundation, NetX, all this can run on Windows. Okay, here also you can select, so which operating system you want. You want to select only Windows, it will give you only Windows related images. Now the question is how to actually use these images. That will be the first question, because Docker is such a huge concept. I am actually introducing it at a basic level. Usually people don't do this, but the reason why I am actually putting this at the basic level is that I am expecting that you are a master. You will be the master, you will be the leader, right? And leaders should know the overview. Leaders should have the overview of the ecosystem, the knowledge around them, correct? So how will you get the knowledge? If no one tells you that, okay, this is available, you will not be able to search, right? So now you will be trying to search it and trying to find how to work with this. Okay, so this is how you do it for Windows, but we are going to work on Linux. So we don't need to worry about Windows at all. I'm just showing these to you, what is available. What you need to do is, you don't need to do any of the searching and all. On the top of the GitHub itself, you will see Ubuntu, right? Click on Ubuntu, okay, like this. It will actually take you to the Ubuntu page. And there you see this command. So all you need to do is docker pull Ubuntu. If you use this command, Ubuntu image will actually get downloaded to your machine. It is as simple as that. And that is the power of command line. So, but yeah, you have to set up Docker. First of all, you have to set up Docker. That will have its own challenges, but it will be very simple. So once you set it up, then you will start rocking. Once you do Docker pull, after that, I will show you how it works. Okay, let me now go to the terminal. Okay, my terminal looks a little different here because I am using something called as tmux or terminal muxer. So I will have two terminals here and also multiple details at the bottom. So all these are settings that has been done in Linux. I'll be showing it in the future. So how this is done using a couple of Linux programs again. But our intention here is to check Docker. So I say Docker version. So first of all, check the version, whether to see whether it is installed or not. That is how you check it. So Docker-version, it will give you the Docker version. So it is 23.0.1 is the Docker version. And then I say Docker image ls. So this will show me the image that is available in my, okay, I am doing all these mistakes because I am actually talking and typing. So both my voice and my fingers are not working correctly together. You see this, I have various images that I have already downloaded. Okay, and I've also created a lot of images also. So we can create Docker images also. And here, if you see, there are various applications like Mongo, you have Ubuntu, you have Postgres. So we can have entire databases downloaded also. Database server itself we can download. We can have Apache Spark, the where it is, Apache Superset, all Apache Foundation applications also we can have. However, the laptop, the underlying the server should be powerful enough to run these things, or else it will not run properly. We can have so this is the playground that I have created. Okay, the playground, the purpose of having a playground is that this Docker environment can be destroyed after you do any activity, like how you saw Kaggle, right? We went to Kaggle and checked it. So the same kind of environment we are going to create it in your own server. So Docker is such an environment. So if I say Docker pull Ubuntu, I don't need to even give full name. So, but the full name is Ubuntu, and I need to give the name 18.04, or I have to give latest. So if you do any of these things, it will pull it is already there in my system, so I'm not going to pull it. Once you do that, it will pull it and keep it in your system. And if you do Docker image ls, you can see the image listed in your system like this. How you are seeing in my system, you will see that in your system also. Where is Ubuntu in my case? Just a minute. You see this here, Ubuntu is here. So you will see that also. Now, next what you need to do is you have to say Docker run it. Oh, so you can do this also. So you can use Docker run help. So once you use Docker run help, you will see that it gives a lots and lots of options here. Docker is written on Go language. So it's one of the versatile language that works very effectively with hardware devices. So we are going to start an interactive session with the terminal in the Docker. So interactive terminal, TTY. So what we say, Docker run it, okay? And I say name. So I give a name. I say Linux tutor again. Okay, and I say Ubuntu, and if I type this and if I press enter, what will happen is the Ubuntu Linux will Docker will get started. It will take a little time. Okay, so once now once it has started, you see this, it actually gives me a different. So here you see solver bot, okay, but here you see root at some number. Okay, so let me show you. You name A. So here you see that Linux code station. This is my detail, my system's detail. Linux code station is my system, and Manjaro is what I'm using. If I come here, in this shell, if I type uname, you will see that it is using again it is using Manjaro only. So this is what I was telling you, that even though you are inside the Docker environment, the underlying operating system will be still your host operating system. Okay, you will not get a different operating system. You will not get Ubuntu here. Okay, don't get confused when you get this kind of a reply. This is how Docker works. Docker is as I was telling, it is a loft or a slab inside the house. On each of the slab, you will have different operating systems. But all these are connected to your base operating system. Okay, so if I say who, if I say who am I, if I say who am I, it will say root. Okay, if I say who am I in my host system, it will give me my username, that is solver bot. So this environment is completely different. So root at this environment is completely different from this particular host environment. Okay, so if I come here and say IP address, so so here these commands will not work. So this is a very bare minimum Ubuntu environment that we get from the when we use the Docker. So it's a very bare minimum file area. But the point what I'm trying to make here is very simple. So for an example, if I say cd home, Okay, if you go into CD home, this place you can do anything you want. And if I say make directory trial, okay, this is make directory nkdir trial. So this trial got created. Okay, you see that I listed the directory and trial got created. Now I am going to exit. So I have exited from the Docker environment. You can see Docker. If I do Docker ps, okay, and if I say a, you will see that this particular container is already running and it has exited. So once I came out of this particular, it got exited. Okay, again if I use this command, okay, and if I try to start the Docker again, it will say, okay, the container is already existing, so you cannot reuse the Docker. So it is not possible to connect to the same Docker again. Okay, the way to connect to it is you actually say Docker run it. Just a minute. In order to check whether the existing Docker is running, you have to use Docker ps. As I was telling you, you have to use Docker ps -a. That will tell you whether the particular name, you see this name here, this name is Linux tutor, whether it is running or not, it is exited. So you have to use Docker start. It will start the same. You have to give the name Linux tutor. It will start the Docker. Okay, and then you can actually use Docker exec it again, and then if you give Linux tutor, and you have to say bash. This is important. You will get the bash environment. So you saw this. If I use this, then I will be back into the root environment. You see this root. So if I use who am I, you will see that I am root. So this is the way how you actually work with Docker. And inside the root environment, you can do whatever you want. And oh yeah, I had to show you something. So the reason why I did this was that if I again go into home and if I do an ls, you'll see that whatever I made, the trial that I made is inside that and it does not got destroyed. So whatever update I'm making, it will be there inside. And it will not get destroyed until I destroy the container. So if I say exit, okay, and if I do Docker ps a, so it is still up and running. So I say Docker stop. Okay, Docker stop Linux tutor, and I say Docker rm, Docker rm Linux tutor. This will remove the complete container itself. So this is a new, if this is a new container. So now if I come here and if I create a new Docker, so if I use this, so if I use this command, so Docker run it name Linux tutor, this will be, so let us not give the same name, let us say Linux new. If I use this, what will happen is, this will be a new, completely new Docker. So if I do cd into home and if I do an ls, you'll see that I am not having the trial folder anymore. So this is a completely new environment. So this Linux new has been kept in a new step inside your house. So assume that. So this is a completely new step inside your house on which the new operating system has been installed. And then all the folder files that we put in this is nowhere linked with the Linux tutor. So this is what I wanted to show you. So this is pretty advanced for a beginner. However, start working on this. Even though you might initially be facing some kind of challenges, you can start practicing it. Again, the intention of showing you all these things is that you can practice and you can understand the technology that is out there. If no one shows you what is the technology out there, then how will you be able to search for it and practice it, right? So this particular series of playlist is about showing you the technology around the Linux environment, not just one of the options. So here you see that you have learned about Docker, you have learned about various other Docker versions on the internet. You learned about AWS EC2 virtual machines. you understood the options that is available that you can do from your own Windows laptop itself directly. So all these things has been covered and a lot has been done. So take these things step by step and practice it. And once you start practicing, you will face a lot of challenges. That is expected. And once you face the challenge, ask for help. Put it in the comment section. I will try to reply and try to guide you whenever I get the time. And also pull in your team members or your friends and colleagues to work with you together and to learn this technology, these technologies, not just one technology. So by this, you will also get to have some clarity about where is the technology world going. And also you will have the other point is that you will get a hands-on on the Linux, because the next series of videos will start moving further into the Linux environment. Okay, so this is a basic starting point. And I hope that these videos are, this video is helpful, and rest of the videos in my YouTube channel is also helpful for you guys. Do leave a like to let me know that how's the video, and also share it with others, share this content with others. It's very important. And finally, do subscribe to the channel, and you will be getting further updates whenever I'm giving the new videos on your YouTube dashboard itself. The update will come to your YouTube dashboard directly. So with this, I would like to end the video with 4 words as usual that I do for all the videos is practice, 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 practice. See you guys. Have a great time.